Hi everyone, welcome to the Laser channel where we learn, create, and share. My name is Greg, and in this video I'm going to be doing the unboxing and the setup of the Creality Falcon 2 laser machine along with the matching enclosure and Honeycomb. Let's start with the Falcon 2 laser machine. While I'm doing the unboxing, I'm going to talk about the company name Creality. I think this is going to really put in perspective what it means to have a machine designed and built by Creality. Creality started as a 3D printer company, and in fact, they still make a lot of high quality 3D printers today. They have an enclosed frame series, and then they also have an open frame series, starting out with the Ender series and including the CR series. They also do a number of resin printers, and to complement all of that, they have a number of accessories for all of their printers, including 3D scanners. Now, I'm talking about the company Creality, and you might be wondering, how does that relate to a laser machine? And the controls of a laser machine and a 3D printer, they're so similar, so it made sense for Creality back in 2021 to enter the laser market with the Falcon Pro machine. The first thing that we're going to see is that this laser machine, the frame is an entirely pre-built. There's nothing to assemble on the frame and the belts are all tensioned. Let's take a closer look at all of the different components included with the Falcon 2. Let's check everything out, starting in the middle here with this quick start guide. Right next to that is the manual that comes with the machine. I'll open this up to a random page and we'll see that it has a very nice clean layout. When I turn the page, we get a nice color graphic of everything that is included with the machine that's currently laid out on the table right now. It also goes into detailed instructions on how to put the couple parts needed together to get the machine up and operational. Next to the manual, we've got the air assist pump, an accessories box, a nice little sticker sheet, an accessories bag with the USB cable, leg extensions, the focusing gauge, and some sample materials to get started with, the feet that go underneath the machine, and it includes a nice thick high quality aluminum panel. This gets placed underneath the machine. If you don't have the honeycomb, this is a great way to protect your tabletop from getting marked by the laser. And finally, we have the power cable, safety glasses, and the power pack. And saving the best for last, the Falcon 2 laser machine. The front is a nice clean layout. And we're going to pan along the side here and see that everything is nicely and neatly bundled. All the air lines and all the wires are all pre-ran on this machine. I'm going to start by turning the machine on its side. That way I can show you the bottom of the machine for installing the feet. And normally I don't get excited about installing feet on a laser machine, but this is really neat. Creality, in their forward thinking, provided multiple attachment points for the feet. And the reason why they did this is that you can vary the width of the mounting feet so that it best fits your workspace. My table, it's very wide, so I'm going to use the outermost holes for attaching the feet. That was quick and easy, and I'm ready to flip this right side up. And already this machine is solidly attached to the work surface. There are nice rubber pads on these feet, so this machine is not going to slide around while it's creating a project for us. The next thing to install is the laser module. And I have just one cable to plug in. On the top, there's a small junction box, and that's where the end of this cable gets plugged into. On the top of the laser module, there's all these little rubber booties to keep any dust and debris out. This largest one that is on the top is for the airline. That easily plugs right into place. Next is the air assist pump. I'm going to place this up near this corner, and that's because the air assist pump connects directly into the machine in this corner. From the laser machine, there's a nice long air tube. I'm going to fish that underneath the frame. And this gets connected up to the top of the air pump. There's a little protective air nub over the top. I'll remove that and place the air line in its place. There's only two quick things left to do. One of them being connecting the power supply up to the machine. This end gets connected to the opposite corner of the air pump. Lastly is the security keys that come in the accessory box. This does need to be placed into the machine to verify that it is in the on position. I think from unboxing the machine to what little assembly there was to do, this has taken less than 5 minutes, making it one of the quickest assembled machines to go from box to power up. Let's take a guided tour around the Falcon 2 laser machine. I'm going to be hitting just the high points, so if you'd like to check out even more detail and specifications on this machine, I will have product links in the video description down below. Feel free to bookmark those for future reference. Let's start with the laser module on the Falcon 2. This machine is available in 3 different laser modules, starting out with a 10 watt, a 22 watt, and a powerful 40 watt laser module. The machine that I have has the 22 watt laser module. When we take a look at the front, the laser module itself has 3 different safety features built in. It has an airflow monitoring indicator light, along with a fire detection sensor located up underneath, along with an indicator light. If it detects that the lens is starting to get dirty, it will alert me that I need to do a little bit of cleaning. Since I'm around the laser module, we're going to see that the cable management system on here is very, very nice. From the factory, everything is tucked out of the way, yet allowing nice, smooth movement for the machine. The movement of the machine is guided by these nice integral side rails. There's a rail here and one up on the top. And we have the same treatment on the other side, a rail here and again on the top. We've got some nice dust covers on the wheels that are inside of this assembly, making sure that we spend more time running the machine and not doing maintenance. I'll turn our attention to the laser module, and it has a very similar treatment with a guide rail on the top and one underneath. And while I know that you can't feel this through the video, but when I move this laser module back and forth by hand, this is absolutely silky smooth. Creality is also thinking of your safety, and they've got an additional 5 safety measures built into the machine, starting off with travel limit switches. There's one right here, and this is part of the homing location for the machine. And this is where most companies stop. They have a limit switch here and up here, and that is just for homing. However, Creality has another limit switch back there and one on the opposite side for the laser module, so that this machine will not damage itself by trying to extend past the frame. The machine also features a tilt stop feature. If the machine tilts too far, the machine will stop. This is commonly used when we don't tidy up our power cable and we happen to trip over that cable, pulling the laser machine down to the floor. It's nice to know that there's built-in safety that the machine will stop should that ever happen. The third safety feature is the security key. I touched base on this during the unboxing. I can place the key in the machine, lock it in the off position, remove the key, and now this machine will not operate until I reinstall the key and turn it to the on position. Right next to the key is the e-stop button. If something unexpected happens, it's nice to know that I can hit that e-stop button and then twist it to reset it. And the last, and I think a really important safety feature on the machine, is the safety glass built into the laser module. This is going to really cut down on the scatter light beams from the laser module. The Falcon 2 can run offline, no computer required. I just need to put the files on the SD card. That card goes in the side. There's a little picture there. I've got a nice control panel on the front when I'm utilizing the SD card. Just below that, I see a little USB icon. That's the plug-in for the computer cable, the power cable, and main power switch. When we move over to the other side, we have the plug-in for the air assist pump and a volume control for setting the airflow from the pump going out to the included air assist nozzle on the laser head. I haven't even powered up the machine and I am already impressed with it. I know that you can't feel it through the video. However, when I push this laser module around slowly by hand, this is absolutely silky smooth. There's no catch points or hiccup points, no bumps or anything. This machine is going to be an absolute joy to run. The unboxing and the assembly of the machine is complete. Next, let's take a look at the Honeycomb that I got with the machine. I think this has to be one of the most beautiful boxes I've ever seen for a Honeycomb panel. I'll slide this out and I'm going to just let the box dump over the front of the table along with this nice protective foam. And that is going to reveal our nice Honeycomb panel. This feels very nice and solid. It's not overly heavy, but it just is solid and it just feels like quality. At the very bottom is, wow, this has to be, I think, one of the thickest aluminum panels I've ever seen that comes with Honeycomb. This is absolutely amazing. The first thing I'm going to do is peel off this blue protective film. We don't want to have this on when we start lasering. That is so satisfying. Moving back to the Honeycomb panel, I see that there's some rubberized corner protectors on here. These are meant to stay on. Not only is it going to protect me from bumping into any potentially sharp corners, we're also going to see across the bottom that there's some height built to it. And that is because on Honeycomb, the honeycomb does need to be spaced up off of the work surface. That way, when we're lasering and we're cutting through, we're going to be pushing smoke and smoke residue down through the honeycomb. That's the whole point of using honeycomb. But now that smoke that's underneath the honeycomb, that needs to be able to get out. And these spaced foot pads that are also the corner protectors are going to allow for that. With the machine moved off to this side, I conveniently have this nice open work area, and that is so that I can put together the laser enclosure. I think it's really important when using laser machines to make sure that there's a enclosure around that. Not only is it going to block a lot of scatter laser light from the laser module, it's also going to keep all of that smoke and smoke residue from entering your workspace, making sure that it is a nice, healthy environment to work in. This is what the contents look like. I'm greeted on the top with a nice single sheet diagram of how to put the laser enclosure together. I've got a bag. We'll see what's inside here. Some little pieces coming out already. They can't wait to get put together. I have an exhaust fan, and the parts that are in there is a protective grill and the screws and fasteners that go with that. I am going to put those back in for just a minute, making sure I don't lose any of them. It has an included exhaust hose. This looks like it's going to be a 3-inch exhaust hose. And let's stretch this out and see how many feet we get. I think this is going to be 1 wingspan. And when I stretch that out, we're doing this very accurately. I'm getting about 5.5 feet on what this tube should measure out to. Oh, check that out. They've got the nice Creality logo across the front, that blue with black. I love that contrast. And without this even being put together, I can see that there's a nice window that's going to be across the front and the top. We also have a number of fiberglass sticks that is going to build the frame that enclosure fits over. And to join all the sticks together, there's all these little joiner pieces. And when I first saw these, I thought, wow, there's a lot of different pieces in here. But when I took a closer look at these, there's only 3 different types. Going back to the sticks, every single stick for the frame is labeled. It has a number on it, and that number matches up to the assembly diagram. After checking out the assembly diagram, it looks pretty straightforward, so let's do a little time lapse of me putting this together. During the assembly of the enclosure, there's 2 really neat features that I ran across. The first one being there's an access port on the side. There's a matching one on the opposite corner in the front as well. And that is for cables like the USB cable and the power cable to enter and exit. The other thing that I ran across that I thought was really nice is most enclosures, they will have the exhaust port on this back corner, and the exit for my exhaust in the studio here is in that corner. But luckily for me, this enclosure has an access port on this side. But wait, there's also an access port on the other side. The hose is connected up to the enclosure. All the assembly is complete. I'm going to move this off to the side so I've got some room for my computer, because up next, I am going to set up the Lightburn software with the Falcon 2 laser machine. The first thing that I'm going to do before I even plug the USB cable from the machine up to the computer is I'm going to locate the USB drive that's included with the machine with the installed SD card. On my computer, I'm going to create a folder called something like Falcon 2, and I'm going to take all the files on this SD card and copy them over to that folder. This way, if I ever need to reference any of the files on this SD card, they're already on my computer. Here's all the files on the SD card, and we can see we've got a user manual, an operation video to help get you set up, along with some sample files, some software, some recommended parameters when working with different materials, including those for laser gerbil. We've also got some fax areas and a description of some of the error codes should you ever encounter those, and the user guide, the laser module alarm functions. We covered that when I was doing the unboxing and overview of the machine. There's also a user manual on how the Air Assist works. I'm now ready to connect the Lightburn software up to the Falcon 2 laser machine. Now, the laser machine is also compatible with the free software Laser Gerbil. My personal preference is to use the paid version of Lightburn software, and that's because it's compatible with so many machines on the market, and virtually everything I run in the studio here runs off of Lightburn software. If you think that this software is something that you would like to try out, but you're not ready to spend the $60 for the license key, Lightburn has a free 30-day trial, and all the features within Lightburn are unlocked. Back inside of the computer, I am going to be using the auto detect feature within Lightburn software to find the Falcon 2 laser machine. To do this, I'm going to be looking mainly at this area down here, and I want to make sure that this middle drop-down box says choose. If it says anything else other than choose, Lightburn software will not be able to auto-detect a machine. This looks good, and I'll click on Devices and Find My Laser. My dialog box here is cut off just a little bit, so I can grab the corner of that, make this box bigger, and now I can read all of the text. I'll click Next. And I've got the air pump running. The machine beeped and Lightburn software successfully auto-detected the machine. I'll click Add Device. And what would I like to call the machine? I'll call it the Falcon 2. I'll click Next. The next dialog box that pops up is asking where the origin of the laser is going to be. This is the software's way of asking when the machine homes, what corner is the laser head going to home to? And on laser machines like this one, it's going to be up in this corner, which is going to be the front left. It's also going to ask me if I would like to auto home the laser on startup when Lightburn is connected. Right now it's defaulted to on. I prefer to check that off because when I'm setting up my laser machine, sometimes I have some work material in the work area here, and when I turn the machine on and the software on, I don't want the laser head automatically moving. I only want my laser to move when I command it to move. Feel free though to check this on or off, whatever you feel works best for you. You can always go back into Lightburn and switch this around. With this all set, I'll click Next. Once again, I have a dialog box that is cut off a little bit. I'll make this a little bit bigger. This all looks good, and I'm ready to hit Finish. I'll click OK. And now I can go to my machine drop-down list. If you're installing Lightburn to a machine for the first time, and this is the only machine that you have it connected to, your machine will be the only one in this list. The nice thing about Lightburn software is you can save a lot of device profiles on here, and I've been fortunate to have all these different machines featured on the channel. The Falcon 2 is at the bottom of this list, and it is now connected. And let's check this out to see when I hit the home button, does it home properly? Look at that, we've got movement already. A quick recap. About a minute or two ago, I connected the USB cable up to the computer. We auto-detected the Falcon 2 machine. That's all set up correctly. We hit the home button in the Lightburn software, and we've already got movement on the machine. This only took a minute or two. This is really just that easy. Wow, this is one smooth running laser diode machines. This is truly impressive. And oh, that's so satisfying to lift out the waste material with the project material left perfectly behind. Let's check this out with a close-up look. Check this out. We've got a nice even engraving across here, clean, crisp detail on the cutout. When I flip it around, we'll see that there's essentially no charring coming through, and that's attributed to the honeycomb. I have two final thoughts that I'd like to leave with you, and they both revolve around the brand name Creality. As we heard in the beginning of the video, Creality has this rich history in 3D printers. And when I heard that Creality came out with laser machines, I was a little bit skeptical. And the reason is sometimes when a major brand that does something really good like 3D printers, when they venture into a laser machine, they do so, but kind of half-hearted, and they're just using their major brand name to levy one of their products. Having had the opportunity to work with this machine a little bit, create a sample project, and see just the refinement in how smooth this machine runs, the Creality brand name to this laser machine, that is a really big benefit because they took their knowledge, everything they knew from the 3D printing world, and they applied it to a laser machine. And all the controls, everything on this machine, it just works the way that it should. The other thought that I had with Creality also stems to their background with 3D printing. Because of their rich history with that, their engineering staff, and their knowledge, I have some very high expectations out of what I would expect this machine to do. I would expect it to run very smoothly. I would expect it to be very precise. When I was shooting the video with my mini action camera, normally when I place that on the frame of the machine, I need to tape that camera down so it doesn't shake off the frame. This machine, I was able to set the camera on this front ledge that's very narrow, and that camera did not twitch or move. The only time the camera moved is when I was holding it by hand above the work area to give you some other views. I hope that you enjoyed today's video. If you did, show this video some love by giving it a like, subscribing to the channel, or ringing that notification bell. Doing any number of those things really helps the channel out, but more so, it's a great way of connecting content like this with great viewers like you. I hope that you'll join me for future videos featuring the Falcon 2. The next video planned is setting up the rotary attachment on the machine, calibrating it, and running a sample project. Until next time, learn, create, and share.